Welcome back. Now in this video, we'll be learning about how do we enter and edit a data in Microsoft Excel. Basics of very much of Excel right now. Now Excel is a very vast application. It can store numbers, it can store date, it can store text, it can store the error messages, everything. All those data can be stored here. It is used in various companies in various departments, HR department, banking department, or you can say sales department, many departments, different domains, healthcare, banking, finance, marketing, and so on, different domains. Now, let us understand first thing, how do we enter data in Excel and how do we modify that thing? For example, I have this cell which is C1 right now, and if I want to enter some text over here, I can just start typing directly. Okay, here I can type as, let's say, Techno H learning services. Simply type it. When you type it, you can see the same text in the formula bar, and here when the cursor is blinking, if you observe here, the cursor is blinking over here, so the ribbon on the top is grayed out. Grayed out in sense you cannot do maximum options, you cannot change anything over there. So when the cursor is blinking, that means you are in the editing mode. The cell is in the editing mode. When you press enter, then the entire tab options will be enabled. Okay. Here we go back. I can use my arrow keys from the bottom. There are 4 arrow keys: left, right, up and down. I can use the arrow keys to move between the cells. Now in this particular cell, if I want to modify, the method is simple method is, if I have a mouse, I can double click on the cell and I can write here as private limited. I can keep writing here and I can press enter. If I do not have a mouse, I can press a shortcut key from my keyboard, F2 or function F2 depending upon laptop. Some people can use F2, some people can use function F2. The shortcut is function keyboard, function button and F2. When I press function F2, I can write here, let's say like this, enter. So the name of the company where I work, which is my company, Technology Learning Services India Private Limited here. So that's a text over here. So whenever I type your text, it's visible. Now let's see some more data. If I enter a text, let's say ABC, and if I press enter, the text alignment would be on the left hand side. If I enter number 1, 2, 3, press enter, the number would be on the right hand side. Observe, text will be on the left, number would be on the right. If I type a date, let's say 1/1/2024, 1/1/2024, enter. Also, if you see, the date will be on the right hand side. So the alignment is right hand side. If I write here, let's say equal to 1, or let's say equal to 1 divided by 0. Obviously 1 divided by 0 is infinity. Here it will give an error. So when I press enter, it becomes as cannot divide by 0. So this is an error. Error alignment would be center. If you see the center alignment. If I type as, let's say equal to false, okay, and if I press tab key, enter. So whenever I type here as true and false, this will come in the middle alignment. If you see false and true, so whenever you see an Excel file, you should be able to understand whether it is a text, whether it's a number, or it's an alignment, or it's a something, let's say true and false, which are Boolean values. True and false are known as Boolean values, BOOLEN, Boolean values here. So these are the alignments over here. I can go back to any place and I can edit, okay. Or if I want to write a function, okay, so I can write as equal to sum, press tab key, 1, 5. So I want to add those two numbers. This is a function. We'll see in detail how to write the functions. Equal to sum in bracket 1, 5. When I press enter, I get the answer 6. So I can enter a function, I can enter a formula, I can enter the text and numbers. So Excel is a application which can store huge amount of data. Now coming back to the point here, to edit a cell, the shortcut is F2 or function F2, or I can just double click on this place. Also, if I think I want to modify the text, I can just click in the formula bar like this and I can put a space, I can write DEF, enter. So various methods are there to modify the data over here, right? Now moving further, carefully observe, if I type here Monday and if I press enter, when I press enter, the cursor comes into the next cell. You see, when I press enter, the cursor comes in the next cell. But here, when I type, let's say Monday, okay, if I type here Monday, if I want the cursor in the same cell, I don't want to come down, I can press Control Enter from my keyboard. Control Enter will keep the cursor in the same cell, okay, and in the non-editing mode. I repeat, when I type Monday, the cursor is blinking. When it is blinking, it's in the editing mode, and the ribbon on the top is grayed out. You cannot do any options. When you press Control Enter, the cursor comes in the same cell in the non-editing mode. So what is the benefit? I have to, if I want to drag down, I don't have to go down and then come up. I can directly use this option. The next option is, suppose if I want to add a new line in the same cell. For example, if I type here my name, okay, Alt Enter, Alt Enter will create a new line in the same cell. My last name, Alt Enter, my city name, Alt Enter, my country name. So Pavan, Lalwani, Pune, India. So 4 lines are created in the same cell. Now when I press enter, you can see these are separate data. Okay, separate data, new line in the same cell. So what is the shortcut for that? Alt enter. Remember, Alt enter is the shortcut. Let's try one more. If I write here as A, Alt enter B, Alt enter C, Alt enter D. And finally, when I press enter, this has created new lines in the same cell. So now I can select this data. Maybe I can press delete key from my keyboard. So delete key will remove all the data from the screen. Now on the right hand side, if you see, we have 145 as a zoom size. I can minimize. I can click on this minimize button. I can click on this maximize button. So the size of this text will increase, or size of the sheet would be increased here. And the last one would be the name box. Suppose I am currently in the cell number A2. Now, if I want to go to B6, I want to go to the cell number B6. How do I go? One method is I can click here and I can jump to B6. Second method is in the name box. This is the name box. I can click on the name box, type as B6. When I type B6, when I press enter, my cursor will be navigated to B6. Okay, I repeat here. Suppose I am in B1. If I want to go to some cell number which is B12. So from B1 to B12, if I want to go, I can C12, I can keep my cursor, type here C12. I can type C12, enter, my cursor will come to the C12 cell number. So why it is easy, why it is important? Because sometimes the data is huge. There are hundreds of columns and there are thousands of rows. Okay, if I want to go to some specific cell, this name box can help me to reach to that particular location very easily. So this is the method of entering, editing data in Microsoft Excel. I hope you have understood. Cut, copy, paste in Microsoft Excel. Cut, copy, paste and clipboard. Very important option. This is a very basic for any beginner in Microsoft Excel. Now, usually the Excel is vast. Sometimes we need to duplicate the data. We need to copy or delete or maybe paste something. Let's see what is that cut, copy, paste. Now here the Excel is blank in the first few columns, but if I move on the right hand side, I have some data. Now you can pause the video and you can see the data here. I have a column named as ID 1, 2, 3, 4. These are serial numbers. I have a column named as name of the YouTube channel over here, which is T Series, Set India, Z Music Company, Sonic Music India. I have the name of the owner who runs this particular channel and the number of subscribers in million. Okay, the data might be here and there. It's okay. Now, what I need to do is, if you see, there are some Indian names as well, Carrie Minati, Ashish Chanchalani, BBQ Wines, Technical Guruji and so on. Now, what I want is, I want to copy this data from this location, which is in the L column. I want to copy the whole data and paste into a first column there. How do I do that? So, many methods are there. The easiest method would be, keep your cursor in the data and press Ctrl A. Ctrl A is a shortcut to select the data, okay, surrounding data. I repeat, if I keep my cursor in the data here like this, if you keep your cursor in the data and if you press Ctrl A, the entire data gets selected here. Okay, now after selecting the data, Ctrl C is for copy. When you select Ctrl C, you can see the lines over here are dotted. Okay, it's not a continuous line, it's a dotted line. Ctrl C is a shortcut for copy, and then I can move my screen. I can scroll on the first column somewhere, select this column and press Ctrl V. Ctrl V is for paste. When I go there, copy, Ctrl C and then Ctrl V. That's a very simple shortcut here. Not only this, you can go to any other sheet. I can go to the sheet and again press Ctrl V. Ctrl V is for paste. I can go to a new file, Ctrl N, a new file entirely. You see sheet 1, sheet 2, a new file which is book 1, and I can press Ctrl V. So again I can paste it here. I can go to Word, I can go to PowerPoint, I can go to any other software and I can press Ctrl V. It will be pasted over there. So let me come back. I can click on close button. Don't save. Yeah. So when I'm sheet 1, now I will repeat the steps again. I will delete this column. Okay, delete this column. Now, how did I delete? Let me show you. I selected this column over here. Okay, the entire column heading. I went to this column heading like this and press delete key from my keyboard. Now again I can go back. So what was the method? I kept my cursor in the data. Suppose you don't keep the cursor in the data and if you click outside. When you click outside and press Ctrl A, the whole sheet gets selected. 1047, whatever 10 lakh records and number of columns, all the data, whole sheet gets selected. So don't do that. You can keep your cursor in the data. Okay. When you keep your cursor in the data and press Ctrl A, the continuous data would be selected. What is continuous data? For example, if I insert a column here, okay, in this O column, if I right click on the heading, right click on this heading over here, let me show the screen. If I right click on this heading and if I click on insert, so what is happening between this data and this data, there's a column, empty column in between. So when I keep my cursor here and if I press A, so this is a continuous data which is selected. So there is a discontinuity, a blank column because of which this data is not selected. So remember, if the data is in a continuous format, no blank column, no blank record, then Ctrl A is the best option. Otherwise, in that case, the other method would be you manually select the data like this using your mouse and then you can press Ctrl C. Okay, so you can press Ctrl C. So Ctrl C, you have to understand the logic behind this. Okay, now I can delete the option. Now, after copy paste, the next step is cut paste. I don't think the location of data should be in the L column. Okay, this data. I want to cut from here and I want to paste it there. Okay, so how do I cut it? So I can keep my cursor, Control A. One is Control A or you can select manually. Control X. Control X stands for cut. Now, right now these are dotted lines, right? Okay, so when I go back to the first column here, okay, select this option. So from there it would be deleted and when I press Ctrl V, here it would be pasted. Okay, so Ctrl V will paste here. Let's go and check whether actually the data has been deleted or not. Okay, so if you see L column, nothing is there. So cut will, delete from that data, from that location permanently, and it will paste at that location where I want. Okay, so it's kind of shifting of data. So we have learned about Control A for select all, Control C for copy, Control X for cut, Control V for paste. These are some shortcuts. Now, there is some interesting thing over here and let me show you that thing. What is that thing? Suppose I have this data. In this particular place, if I select Control C one time, I click here Control C second time, I select here Control C third time. So Control C, Control C, Control C. Now 3 times I've copied and if I want to paste here, what would be pasted? Okay, what would be pasted? The last copied item would be pasted. When I press Control V, this subscriber in million would be pasted, Control V. But now what I want is, if I want to paste the first copied item, okay, if I want to paste the first copied item, how do I do that? Because 3 times, 10 times if I copy, still the last copied item is pasted. So for doing that activity, the new topic name is clipboard. So clipboard, imagine it's like a box containing all the copied items in a temporary location. So clipboard is a temporary location. So clipboard can save 24 copied items, 24. Okay. How do we activate this option? Here, if you see, the option name is given as clipboard. So on this place clipboard, how do we activate this option? The small button over here, let me highlight the button. This small button over here has to be clicked. When we click on the small button, the clipboard window would open. Now this is the clipboard. Now this is a temporary box which can save the copied items. Okay. Now carefully observe. When I keep my cursor over here, press Ctrl C one time, you see the data would be copied here. This is a temporary location. I can select this and press Ctrl C. When I press Ctrl C, there's a notification at the bottom. 2 of 24 clipboard. 2 of 24 means 24 items can be copied and stored at a temporary location. Out of that, you have just copied 2 items. When I can click here Ctrl C and if you see 3 of 24 items copied. So 3 items have been stored here as a temporary. Now my question was, if I want to paste the first copied item, what was the first copied item? If you remember, this was the subscriber in millions, which was name of the YouTube channel. Sorry. So name of the YouTube channel. So if I press Ctrl V, the last copied item will come. But if I want the first copied item, I can just click over here. So from this place, if I click, I'm getting this option. I can click on this second option and I can click on this third option. So now you understand, clipboard is a box, temporary box, which can store 24 copied items. Okay, temporary. Now, temporary, what I mean by that, if you switch off the Excel, if you switch off a laptop, the temporary items will go away. Okay, and this is a good option to store the data. Now, this clipboard is very interesting because if you go to Word document, okay, if I open the Microsoft Word document, a blank document, here also there's a clipboard option. When I open this clipboard, you can see the Excel copied items are there. Okay, if I open PowerPoint, remember, in a company or any place, Excel, Word, PowerPoint are the most common used applications. 98% of the big giant companies uses Microsoft Excel, Word and PowerPoint. So when I open the PowerPoint, I'm still getting the same clipboard option and I can click here. These are the options here. So clipboard is a common box for all the MS Office applications. Okay. If I go to Word document, if I write as A, B, C, D, if I copy Control C, if you see on the left hand side, A, B, C, D and the word icon would be given. Let me zoom the screen. So word icon is given. Okay. And if I go to PowerPoint over here, okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, and if I press Control C. So left hand side, this is the PowerPoint clipboard item. So a clipboard is a common place stored for all the MS Office applications. I can close don't save, I can close Word document and I can click on don't save. So now if I want to paste the PowerPoint item in Excel, I have to just click on this ABC. So this is a PowerPoint item. If I want, I can click on this Word item, which is copied here. So I can paste it from anywhere. So this is a clipboard. So clipboard is a temporary place where you can store the data. So these are the options. Now I think you have understood about the cut, copy, paste and clipboard in Microsoft Excel and font formatting in Microsoft Excel. Now imagine if you have people, two persons standing in front of you, and one is a very well dressed with a blazer, with a proper comb in the hairs and everything properly, and second is a normal person. Obviously the first impression, a person would be attracted to a person who's well dressed, well behaved and everything. No matter, he might be a bad person, I don't know, but it's a first impression. So people try to get attracted to a person who's, well being. So it can be a girl, it can be boy, it can be anything, or it can be any product as well. So imagine there are two products and one is having a very good packaging and one is having a normal packaging. By default, we focus and we try to attract the product which is having a good packaging. So therefore companies focus more on packaging, okay, and product as well, definitely, but how do you market, how do you product that? Now that is the topic same right now. It's a formatting. I have a data on my screen, but the data is not so good looking. If I want to present that data in a very good format, I need to format that data. Okay. So if you see, every text is in the same format, but I need to make it more presentable. How do I do that? So for that, we have a topic named as font formatting. This area, if you see, this is for the entire formatting to make your data look more beautiful. Okay. Let's do it, everyone. So first thing, let me zoom the screen and I can show you. We are talking about this area. The name of the group is font group. We have bold, italic, underline, borders. We have background color, font color, increasing and decreasing the size. Here also the size option and different fonts. Okay. So let's try to understand. And here the first column heading, obviously it's a column heading, so it should be differentiated from the below data. So we can select this using a big doctor symbol, okay, or the selection option here, and then we can just click on bold. When we click on bold, the thickness of the font becomes more better here. Now this is a more thickness. Now we can differentiate between this heading and the bottom here. Similarly, I can select this heading and I can convert into italic, or I can click on underline. There will be underline below every word and it is italic format. So this way I can apply these things. The other option is if I want to give a background color, I can select this option, this one, the bucket symbol, and here I can choose some color. Let's say this is the color. I can select dark blue color. Now the color you can choose depending upon the logo of the company, depending upon the logo of your college or school. Okay, what kind of background you want, because it should have a similarity. For people who are into marketing company or brand company, they use the brand colors and the product colors. And right now, the font color, okay, I can choose the font color as white. So you see the cell background color is blue and the font color is white. It's not visible, but it is white here. You see, that's the font color here. So this way I have applied the options. Now at any point of time, if you think you don't want these options, what you can do is you can press Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. So whatever activities are done, you can reverse those activities. So Ctrl Z is a shortcut to reverse the activities. If you want it back, Ctrl Y, Ctrl Y, Y, Y and Y. Ctrl Y is to bring back those activities. You see. The other method, if you forget the shortcut, okay, if you're a school student or a college student, it might be a question in your exam. But if you're a professional working, you don't have to remember the shortcuts, right? Why to remember shortcuts? So you can press Ctrl Z, Z, this one, you see undo button, and the activities are reversed. And there's a redo button to bring back those activities here. So these are the options. Now, the heading size and the other font size is same. So I want this heading to have a better size. So I've selected the heading, and if you see, this is the option of increasing the font size. Carefully observe, the header font size is increased, and this, when I click on this button, it is 20. I can click on this small a button to reduce the size, okay, to make it look better. As I told you, if you're a teacher or professor in some college, and there are 100 students, they cannot see, the last student cannot see the data properly, okay. So you need to increase the font size, you need to increase the screen size and all those options. Now I can minimize this option over here, okay, this one. Or if you think you are confident about what font size do you want, you can pick up this font size. You see 14, 16 and so on, like this. That's one option. Now, here when I select the data, I think I can change the font size. By default, usually font size is Arial or Calibri. You find this font size. However, you have a freedom to choose the font size. If you read the newspapers, right, carefully observe, the font size are very, professional in a very good manner. If you read the magazines, the font size would be different. If you read some marketing article or LinkedIn post or somewhere, the font size or the font would be different here. So here we can just move our cursor, and you see at the bottom, the font size is changing. Let me just move it, and if you see the font size is changing, make sure the font size is simple, easy and properly visible for the end user, okay, whoever is watching. You have to keep it very simple and easy here. So there are plenty of font size which you can choose, okay, plenty of font size. So you see this is something Cavallini to make it little more fancy over there. So usually if you see in the marketing company, or if you see watch some movies or YouTube channels and all, they use this kind of font size. So plenty of font size, plenty of different fonts would be available. These are the fonts and these are the size option here. Similarly, now I think after doing all this activity, this was a font group. I think I need to give a border to this data. So I can press Ctrl A, the whole data is selected. What do I mean by border? If you carefully observe here in the font option here, if I click on this drop down, I can give a border at the bottom, I can give a border at the top, left border, right border, but I want all the borders. When I click on all the borders, if you carefully observe, these are some thickness which is giving a proper highlight, okay. So here a border is applied to this data, okay. So this way, if you observe the previous data and now this data, if you scroll back, you'll understand that that was a basic formatting, nothing was there. Now this makes my data more easy, more presentable, more attractable for the end user. Here at the back end, if you see, there are some lines over here. These are known as grid lines. I can go to view menu bar and I can tell them no grid lines. This is a checkbox. When I select no grid line, you see it's completely blank. Now I have a more laser sharp focus on the data. You see, I have more focus. Now these are not disturbing me. Okay, I can focus on the data and see this option. Also, if you think, there is one channel, let's say Carrie Minati, okay, or let's say Ashish Chanchalani. If you want to highlight that record, if you want to bring attention to this person, you can just go to home menu bar. First you selected the data, home menu bar, and then you selected the color from here. So using this option, now from the whole data, my attention is grabbed by this person, you see, Ashish Chanchalani. Or if I select this option, Mr. Beast, I can select this data and I can attract. So this way I'm trying to bring the attention of people, and initially first one was okay data, but now this is much better here. Not only this, I can select this particular cell and I can just highlight. Okay, I can select this particular cell, I can highlight. So this way font group in the home tab is important to give more attention to your data. For time being, I think you have understood about the font formatting in Microsoft Excel and alignment in Microsoft Excel. Alignment of text, alignment of dates and numbers are very important. We'll see how to align the data properly to make it more presentable and make it more beautiful. Let's try to understand. So here, where is the alignment option? In the home tab, we have a group named as alignment. This is known as the group option. There are various options. We'll try to cover one by one. Let's say we have a F column and I'm having the cursor in cell number F over here, which is F2. I will just increase the height of this column. How do I increase the height? Here on the left hand side, carefully observe, my cursor is between row number 2 and row number 3. Okay, when you have this kind of icon, you can click and increase the height. That's one option. So that is easy method to do that. If I want to increase the width, this becomes a width, this becomes the height. So if I want to increase the width of this F column, I can click between F and G column. You see, whenever I keep my cursor on the heading, this becomes arrow asking me to select. But if I want to increase the width, I can keep my cursor between F column and G column and I can increase or decrease. Okay, this way I can increase or decrease. Have a look again. I can click increase here. Same way, I can keep my cursor between row number 2 and row number 3, increase the place. Now here I'll insert some data, let's say as MS Excel. So carefully observe, when I have the data MS Excel, what is the position of this particular text? It's in the bottom left hand side. It's in the vertically bottom and horizontally left hand side. Now here are the options. Carefully observe, these are the 6 options which I'll be talking about. So when I select this option, the first one, it will bring the data in the top alignment. If I click on this, second option is middle alignment and third option is bottom alignment. So vertically top, middle and bottom. Top, middle and bottom, these are 3 alignments over here. Okay, so top alignment, middle alignment and bottom alignment. Now here the bottom 3 options, if you see, this one is the left, the center, this is the second one which is center, and third one becomes as the right. So horizontally again there are 3 options, the left, center and the right option here. So here left, center and right. So I'm deciding the position of a text in that particular cell. So here I can select horizontal alignment or the vertical alignment. Right now for our data, if I want to bring the data, I can click on the vertical center and horizontal center. So you see, this data looks more better. It is in the center, attracting people over here. Okay, so that's one thing. I can also increase the size to make it look better. Okay, so that's the alignment part. Now here when I select this text, if I want to change the direction, okay, the next part would be changing the direction. Here these are some options, which is angle counterclockwise, angle clockwise, vertical and horizontal. I want you to see this option over here, which is the direction, at the bottom and so on. So if I select the first option, you see the text is in this alignment, it's going upwards. If I select the other option, it is going angle clockwise, it's going downwards over there. And the third option is, if I say vertical text, and if I try to increase the height to make it look, again if I can increase the height, so you see what is happening here, right? So MS Excel is going as vertically, word by word or alphabet by alphabet, it's going vertically downwards here. So I can select the option rotate up, you see, and I can select the option rotate down. So what direction do you want of the data, you can decide from here. So let's try to see this option. I can delete the text and I'll give you one real-time scenario. I can select on the left hand side. So this is the text on the top. This is the data. Now when I present the data, a person has to go through all the columns to understand what is the data. But if I give a proper title to this data, it's easy for anyone to understand what I'm trying to show. I'm trying to show all the YouTubers, famous YouTubers across the world. Okay. So here in the first row, I click on the number 1, first row, right click on the row heading. These are the row headings. If you see, the row headings is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the column headings A, B, C, D and so on. So if I right click on the first row heading and if I click on insert, so when I click on insert, a blank row is inserted. You see, a blank row is inserted. If I right click on row number 10, right click, insert, a row would be added before row number 10. If you see, this is row number 10 here. If I right click on column C and if I click on insert, a column would be inserted in the C place here. So I can press Ctrl Z to delete this option. Now here what I want is, I want this particular cell or the heading should be famous YouTubers across the world or famous YouTubers. I will write as famous YouTubers. Enter. So when I enter the text over here, carefully observe, it's just on the top left. It should be in the center, right? It should be here in the center and it should be bold and everything italic and all. Now what I need to do is, I have to combine all the cells over here. So if you want to combine all the cells on the top, here we have an option. First you select the data and then select this option, merge and center. Merge and center will bring the data in the center over here. Okay, if you see it's in the center, all the cells are merged together. Here obviously I'll increase the size to make it look better, and here by default the alignment, if you see, merge and center, so it is in the center now. Okay, it has clubbed all the cells and the text is in the center here. Now I can select this, I can give a background color, I can give a font color, and this becomes a heading. So a person who's watching this data can understand very quickly within seconds what is this data all about. So this data is about the famous YouTubers. Okay, I can put in 2024, 2025 or any year, so it is easy to understand. So these are famous YouTubers which is given the data. Now, so this was the option. If you think you can change the indent, okay, this is the option here. I can change the indent of the text. You see, I can just move the data in little spaces. So this one is the increase indent and decrease indent. You see these two options, to increase indent and decrease indent, right? This is the option here. Now again, coming on the right hand side, what is this wrap text option? We will be talking about this wrap text option. Suppose I have this data here. Now I'll just type something. Today is a beautiful day. Okay, I'll write as beautiful day in Pune, India. When I'm recording, it's raining outside. Raining. Today it's raining. Today it's raining outside. I want off for school, college and office. Enter. So now when I enter the text over here, what is happening? This data, it's going outside that particular cell, it's growing on the right hand side. Okay, so what I want here is, I want the cell should accommodate that data. It should not go outside that cell. So if I select that cell and if I click on wrap text, the width of the column will remain same, but the height of the row will increase. Okay, carefully observe, the width would be same but the height will increase. So when I click on wrap text, I've selected the cell. When I click on wrap text, the width remained the same and the height of the cell has increased, and this will make easy for a person to read. Now imagine if I have many cells like this kind of data, so it will automatically adjust this data. Ctrl Z I can press, I can select these cells and press Ctrl D. What is Ctrl D? It will fill the data down. It will copy the data and fill it down. Now when these cells are selected, if I click on wrap text, so you see the width of the column is same and the height of the rows have increased. So this has given the data in a proper format. Ctrl Z. So this was about the wrap text. Now carefully observe, these are the options we have understood about the alignment. Vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, wrap text, merge and center, and also we have seen about the text direction, wherever you want to apply the text direction. So that's it. I hope you have understood about the alignment in Excel and number formatting in Microsoft Excel. Number formatting is very important, and where exactly it is located in the home menu bar, we can see this is the number group. So all the number formatting would be given in this location. So if it is a date, if it's a text, or if it's a number, everything you will be able to see on this location. So let's try to understand with a very simple example. I'll type here a number, let's say as numbers, or let's say currency, or let's say amount. I've added an amount and I'll put here, let's say 10, enter 20. Okay, just random numbers 10 and 20. So if I select this 10 over here, and if I want some numbers at the bottom, I can keep my cursor on the small doctor symbol, and if I drag, it's on the 10. If I drag, I'll be getting 10 everywhere. Okay, 10 everywhere. I'll press Ctrl Z. I don't want 10. I want 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. So if you want that data, the steps are: select both the cells using a big doctor symbol and keep your cursor on the fill handle button or small doctor symbol and then drag. So this way I'm getting numbers 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. One more time, we'll enter here 2, 5, and let's say after 2, 5 comes as 8. So if you see, the interval between them is 3. After 2 plus 3, 5, 5 plus 3, 8. I have selected this data using big doctor symbol, then small doctor symbol, I can drag and fill. So the interval between them is 3. Okay, so that's a fill and handle option here. I can go in a reverse order. I can put here, let's say 10, then 5 and maybe 0. So if I select this 3 data, small doctor symbol, it will go -5. It will keep on, adding -5. Okay, that's it. So let's come back to the topic. We have the formatting. Okay, let's say this is the amount here, and I am working in United States, America, and I want this to have a dollar sign. In United States, there's a dollar sign. Today, the $1 is equal to 83 Indian rupees approximately. If I want this currency as a dollar sign, I can click on this button here. So when I click on this button on the top, the dollar sign is given, and any person in the world can understand it's a dollar. Okay, now again there's a challenge whether it's a Singapore dollar or it's a US dollar. Which country dollar is it? So it's not written, it's just a dollar sign right now. So the other option is here in the drop down. If I'm working in India, okay, and here India, I can select this rupee, which is English India. So it gives me a feel of localization. It's a Indian rupees. So this is a currency symbol used in India. Okay, currency symbol. So here I can click. No matter which country you're from, you get a currency symbol over here. If you see, that's a Chinese option. I can select Chinese option. I can click here, and there's a Euro option which is available, and so on. Now, obviously, these are only 5, but there are so many countries, so many currency symbols. Not everything will come here. If you want more currency symbols, click on more accounting formatting, and here from this drop down, you pick up the country and you'll get the different symbols over here. Many countries, many currencies are there, and you can get it. So that's one option. Now, before the currency came in the world, we were having a barter exchange. You give me rice, I'll give you water. You give me something, I'll give you something. But now the currencies are there, so I can just click on cancel. So that's one option, selecting currency. Now we'll keep it, let's say Indian rupees over here. Now, if you see, there are some decimals. After 80, there's a 80.00. If you don't want decimals, you can click on this button. You can keep on decreasing the decimals. If you want, you can increase the decimals from here. You see decimal signs from here. So that is one. Now suppose you don't want that as a currency. Okay, you can click on the percentage symbol over here. So this will give you the option which is the percentage, 10%, 20%. Now companies work on the percentage format. Schools and colleges give the percentage as a, out of 100. Now there are gradings as 1.2 point. In order to make it more motivated, they give us A, B, C, D. But still the company's profit is measured in the percentage, 100% increase, 20% increase. HR department use the percentage. Attrition rate is 10%, 5%. Sales people use the percentage as a growth, 20% increment, 30% growth, and so on. The other option, this was the numbers. So what we have learned right now is the currency format, the percentage format, and increase or decrease the indent format. Let's see what are the other options. Now, if I want a date, I'll type on the top as date, and if I want today's date, I can press Control semicolon. What is that Control semicolon? Right, let me write down here. The Control semicolon. This is the shortcut. From your keyboard, you can press Control semicolon. Control semicolon is a shortcut to get the today's date. Okay, from your keyboard, today's date. So I'll press Control semicolon from my keyboard like this, and I'm getting today's date. The day when I'm recording is 28th of August 2024. Okay, and the day when you're watching, it's many years, many days after that. So I'm getting the date format, and I can just click on the small doctor symbol, bring it down. I'm getting the dates in an incremental fashion, 28, 29, 30, 31, and so on. So it's in the 1 by 1 increment. Notice carefully, this date is a DD-MM-YY. What is DD? DD stands for date, MM stands for month, YY stands for year. Now this date format is similar to my laptop date and time format. It's not the same, but it's similar format over here. Now obviously if I scroll down, now there's a person who will watch this data and will be confused. What is 0909? Okay, or let's say 0808. If you're a new person watching now, it's difficult to explain what is 08, whether it's a month or it's a day. Okay, so in order to avoid the confusion, what we can do is we can select this data over here, and here in this drop down, carefully observe, we have short date and long date option. Short date and long date. So when I click on short date, it's already short date option. If I select the long date, it's a beautiful method of explaining the data. Now here it says as 5 September 2024. Okay, 5 September. So I can understand which is 5. Earlier it was 0808. So we could not understand 08. So 8 September 2024. Along with that, it is also telling me whether it's a Saturday or Sunday or Monday. Okay, whether I should give a holiday or not. Okay, so 15th August is Independence Day in India, where we celebrate. Whether it falls on Sunday or it falls on the working day, for working professionals, for students, it's important you understand from that. So different holidays, we get a clear idea. So this way we can plan our holidays as well. So now this was a formatting here. Now if you think you need to change the formatting, you can click on this drop down. Okay, these are two date formats option. If you think you need to change something, you can click on more number formats, and here on the left hand side, date option. So these are plenty of different date options. Now different countries use different date formats. In some countries they use DD-MM-YY. In some countries they use DD.MM.YY. In some countries they use MM.DD.YY. Okay, and some countries use DD/MM/YY. Okay, different date formats are there. So you need to understand which country you're working, what is useful. Okay, if there are 100 countries people working together, then there's a lot of chaos. Then there's an advanced Excel which we learn and how to bring it together, date formats. So this way you can choose the options from this location. Carefully observe, by default it is for English United States. If I click here from this location and if I select, go back to this option, more number formats, instead of United States, if I want to select, I can select the country. Let's say if I select some country, let's say Malaysia. What Malaysia follows, these are the formats. If I click on this drop down and if I search for Singapore, Singapore follows this kind of formats. If I go for United Kingdom, they follow this format. Can you see this one dot, 14 hyphen, 14 dot and 2020. So different countries have different formats. I'll just click on cancel. So you can choose the format. Let's say I'll choose this one, click on OK. So format can be changed from here. Now this was about the things on this location. Now let's see some more examples. If I have 25.25, 65.36, some numbers over here. Okay, let me just bring it here. 98, right. Now this data I have selected. Perfect. Now numbers. Now suppose if I select this data and I don't want the decimals, so I can select the option, let's say for example right now the number. So numbers, if you see everywhere, these are 2 decimals. Now it's up to me. If I want the decimals, I can decrease the decimals. If I want the decimals, I can increase the decimals from here. You can see this options, which is number. We have seen about the currency and accounting. They are almost similar here. Okay, I can select the currency option. I can select the accounting options. Okay, and the date and time. So different options are there. This below options, fraction, scientific, is very rarely used. Not most of the companies use it. So fraction and scientific very rarely used. However, date and time, these options are mostly used. So you can explore those options also by yourself. Okay. So this was all about the number formatting in Microsoft Excel. I think you have understood, and that's all for this video.